Out of Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your hosts E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
And hello, everyone out in the DC universe. Welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Gotham, episode 164. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by batman-on-film.com. Check out all the great shows associated with that network by heading on to BOF and clicking the podcast drop down. I'm your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River, a senior contributor to Batman on Film. I'm Peter R. Vera. Today we're recording on December 7th, 2024, and as always, I have a great show for you today. Before we get into the good stuff, I'd like to remind you, all our faithful listeners, if you take the time to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and we read your review on air, you just won our monthly prize pack, so please be in it to win it. Now let me introduce my partner in crime, the newest member of Blue Social, everyone, the champion of Long Island, Eric Holzman.
Hello there. Yes, I am on Blue Sky.
Is that what it is? Blue Sky? I don't know.
Yes,
I got
I
too
am
many
over
apps.
there.
I'm not adding another app. Not adding another app.
Yeah, like it's just Twitter with a different name. It really is.
Yeah.
They don't have all the functionality there that Twitter has yet, but it's essentially the same exact platform. So, I went over
Twitter
there
6 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much there. I actually joined a while ago when Blue Sky first happened, and I hadn't been going there. But now some people who left Twitter I'm not going to get into that, for their own personal reasons, I now go there to see their stuff. So there you go.
You're very committed. I'm not doing that. I have X. It's there. Again, no more apps. I'm done collecting apps.
Yeah, it's true. It gets to be a bit much having to surf between all the social media apps if you do that. Even stuff like Instagram, and like I have an Instagram account, but I barely go on it. It's still the main two original ones for me. It's usually Facebook, which I'm even less on there than I used to be.
Yeah, I got rid of Facebook. I was like, I don't use this at all.
Yeah,
I don't need this.
All my family's on Facebook, so like that's why I stay, because they might post the people I don't see. They might post things, and then I can see stuff from my family.
They should have my phone number.
Yeah, I know how to get in touch with. I'm good.
I'm
there.
Like, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't need to see pictures of your cousin's niece. That's just anyone.
I know what you mean. I hear you.
So
yeah. So we're rounding into the holiday season now. It is obviously the Christmas season. So everyone look forward to all those little Christmassy shows that come on this time of year. New York. This is a New York-based show. We lit the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree on Wednesday. So do you remember when that show was like a half hour? It's a 2-hour thing now where they have all these people come and perform.
Well, they've got to pregame the tree. I don't know.
It's crazy, man, but it looks like a beautiful tree. To the lighting?
Yeah, I've never been to the tree lighting.
One year
ago.
Yeah, I went 1 year, and I was working for a law firm at the time, and we represented one of the companies involved with it. So they gave us passes, and we were able to like stand there and up close and watch the tree lighting. It's a cool event. But this was when, like I said, it was like a half hour and hey, you're gone, or 45 minutes tops, and then everyone leaves. Now it's a 2-hour show. Like Kelly Clarkson was hosting it.
Ryan Seacrest was there.
Yeah, like it's literally become like New Year's Eve.
No desire to do New Year's Eve. No, not at all. No desire to ever go to Times Square for New Year's Eve. Just
the only
from
time
a factor that people say wear diapers. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not
yes,
gonna pee myself.
That does happen. The only time I ever did, I worked in the Paramount building, which is right there. So I was able to just stay in my office and my company kept their office open, and we had like a party there. And so I got to experience.
That'd be cool, actually. I wouldn't be opposed to that. That actually sounds somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
In a building, warm, with an Irish coffee.
I used to work a couple New Year's Eves. And I do remember people just being online, getting there super early, and you could tell like they have it's freezing out. They have all this layers on.
Yeah, no way.
And yeah, you'd ask them, and they're like, "Yeah, I have a Depends on or an adult diaper." I'm like, "Okay, that's a bit extreme."
No doing that. Not doing that.
So yeah, so I don't need diaper rash in my 30s and 40s is not a thing that I need in my life.
Nope.
So
No, it is not.
so yeah. So but you know what? Shout out to those people, the dedication they have to wanting to be a part of that event.
No shout out to those people. No shout out to anyone who willingly pees themselves. Like he's like, all right, it's happening.
Yeah, all the businesses like that are lined there, they will not let. They're like, no, you can't use the bathroom there. I mean, it's wild, but I get it. There's almost 1 million people they say in that area for that.
Nuts. No,
Yeah.
I'm good in my living room.
It's kind of crazy. Yep. So this year we don't have a tentpole Christmas comic book film coming out.
No
Unless
Aquaman.
you consider Kraven one, which I don't.
Well, rumor on the street is you're really hyped for Kraven.
I am actually. I really like the trailers. I really do think it's going to be an entertaining and fun film, at least.
What makes you think that Sony's going to get it right the 8th time around?
I don't know if they are. I don't that's just it. I don't know if they are going to get it right. I just like what I've seen so far in the trailers. It hasn't been ridiculous. Like the very first trailer we got, that first one that they since scrapped and whatever they did with the reshoots. That very first one I thought was, oh God, here we go again. But these ones recently have been better for me anyway. So I'm interested, intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm hyped for it, but I'm intrigued enough that I'm going to go see it now and see what it's all about. It can't be worse than Madam Web. And I watched that. So
I want to buy Madam Web on Laserdisc. That's how much I loved Madam Web. Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't even see Venom. Like that's how I was like, there's no way I'm gonna go check this out. I didn't have time, so I didn't even try to force it. And I'll wait for the home video. Apparently it's crushing it at the box office, which I just don't get, but
what, Venom?
Yeah. Like it's doing very well. Maybe it's doing very well for Venom at the box office. Maybe, it's not the juggernaut, that other comic book movies are, but I'm just like, I don't know if I could watch these.
It wasn't, like I said when I told you when I saw it, it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't great by any stretch, but it was a good ending and it tied a nice bow on the trilogy and for the character. So it's definitely worth a watch. It's much better than Let There Be Carnage. Yeah.
Really?
That was so bad.
Yeah, there's a solid 30 minutes of that movie on the floor.
Yeah. Probably somewhere, I'm sure, but
there's a whole backstory of Eddie Brock and Cletus Cassidy being like stepbrothers.
That would give it a little more depth, that's for sure.
I'm just saying, like, that's the only other reason to be like, Eddie, we're brothers. I was like, what is he talking about? I know. You guys wasted Woody Harrelson in this movie.
They did. That's my biggest takeaway from that movie is that they had Woody Harrelson and they wasted him. Yeah, that was not a good film, but definitely like it's on demand now, Pete. So you could probably watch the third Venom just chilling at home one day. Yeah,
I'll pick it up on iTunes or watch it on HBO. Hopefully it gets on Max or Disney or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have had some things that have come out very recently, actually. Our first entry into the DCU with Creature Commandos. I did watch the first 2 episodes. I thought I enjoyed them. Yes, it's a very similar thing we've seen from Gunn, so I don't need to, go down that road that everyone's going down. Like, oh, we've seen this before from him. Yeah, well, we kind of knew that's what it was anyway. So I'm not gonna critique it from that perspective. But from what I saw, I feel like he wrote a very good, at least the first 2 episodes focused mostly on the bride. So we got a nice little intro into her character. And according to what he said, she's a big protagonist in the show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens going forward. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the animation style, but I did like it. So
I didn't realize that was a problem for people.
Yeah. But what did you think of it again? The first 2 episodes.
I thought it was okay. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. This is the third time I've seen DC Comics do this story of Whack Job Rejects. It's just and again, James Gunn's doing this again personally for him the fifth time, right? He did 3 Guardians movies. I'm just like whatever. I'm waiting for Superman. This cartoon's okay. It's fine. It's it's not Harley Quinn. It's better than Kite Man. But I'm just kind of like it's okay. It was weird watching Dr. Frankenstein have sex with a dead corpse. It was spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, that didn't bother me because it was James Gunn. I expected something raunchy and whatnot, but yeah, the bride might as well just be Harley Quinn. A flag is a flag. Ratcatcher is a fishbowl chick, and I'm like, this is it feels like a sequel to Suicide Squad, which is fine. It's just I'm kind of tired of this story. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh man, am I going to even like Thunderbolts? Like just again, same story. Here we go, 6th time around.
Yeah.
The Whack Job Rejects get together to save the world. All right, guys. Like again, just something new. Again, waiting for Superman. Let me see what that's all about. I'm not going to judge him on this, but this isn't make or break for me. But I'm not like overly excited about it either.
Yeah, I mean, we have obviously it's only been 2 episodes, so content wise, we don't know where this is going to go yet.
Yeah.
It could be fantastic within something we've seen before. You're right. It could, but yes, it's the same story that Suicide Squad is. It's the same story that kind of what Guardians was. So yeah, it's kind of the same vein.
Even
but
the original Suicide Squad, they rebooted it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got the picture. The government.
It does tie in to Peacemaker at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, all the James Gunn stuff is there. Like it's what's canon and what's not right away from the get go. Corto Maltese, Starfish, blah blah blah. That's all mentioned.
Yep.
Waller ties it all together. So yeah, I mean, and that's what I expected. I expected everything that James Gunn worked on.
Yeah.
Exactly. At this point, The Suicide Squad is the first movie in James Gunn's DCU.
Yeah, that's probably a good
He's
way
making his second movie. This is not his entry. This is his second movie.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, that's how this goes. So it's the first hero. He started off with a villain. Now he's, it almost feels like it's like Snyder all over again. Snyder did the first 2 movies and then they let somebody else have a shot. Well, James Gunn got the first 2 movies and then someone else will take over. I forget who's directing Supergirl, but I think they're up next. But yeah, no, it's just interesting. So
yeah, I am interested to see where it goes, though. I do think he wrote at least for the bride story. Like I'm invested now. I want to see what happens with her.
It's an interesting take on Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was 2 sex scenes in the first 2 of first 2 episodes.
I will say this though, like I know their plan is to take these cartoon characters and at some point put them in live action. Like I know Grillo's going to be in live action. Yes. That character looks nothing like Grillo. Like
the white hair.
I was like, this looks like buff James Gunn. Like, I was like, if you're gonna put Grillo, is this what Grillo's gonna look like?
I guess they're gonna dye his hair. I'm assuming.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I thought that was just a little tidbit because Weasel looked like Weasel.
Yes, and apparently, episode 4 focuses on Weasel's story. So we've seen Weasel a few times now. And now we're going to actually get a backstory on the character. So
he's a character I forgot about in the Suicide Squad. He's like he's gone before you know it, and then he pops up again. You're like,
at the end.
I was like, that was a thing.
Yeah. So it's gonna. I'm interested. Like I said, he did an interview with I forget some podcast. I forget the name of it. And he spoke a little bit about what's coming, and that was one of the things. Was episode 4 and how hard that was for them to do and how he spent a lot of time on it. And like a lot of the episodes, he would give the animators the script and be like, this is the Bible, stick to what we have here. And he would get back what he saw and he'd be like, oh, this is great. He said with that one, they came back and he's like, it's good, but we need to do this, or we can do this, or he gave more notes on it. So he's already pumped up that episode for me, like pumped it up. Now I'm like, okay, I'm expecting this really, really great piece of media for episode 4. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that now. But I'll definitely stick with it. I was intrigued enough, and I did like it enough in the first 2 episodes. So I'm definitely gonna.
It's just they're minuscule characters. They're not minuscule. They're obscure characters, and I just again, it's like an interest level. I'm like, just give me a Superman. This could have been a story about I'm trying to think the All-Star Squadron, and I'd be like, please, just get me.
Yeah,
I need
we
marquee
explained
heroes.
why it came first.
I need marquee heroes.
Yeah,
me personally, that's what I want. I want
right. I mean, if this was a movie,
heroes doing stuff. Yeah.
If this was a movie, I think I'd be more inclined to think like you. Like, if we got a full movie of just these guys, I'd be like, yeah, I don't give a crap. But the fact that it's a show,
I think it's a good idea to make it not only a show but a cartoon show. I think that's fine, and I think that makes sense. I definitely would not. I'd probably be even more bitter about it if it was a movie, because I'm like, again, you guys are doing this. But again, it's a show. It's literally just fans. Fans are going to watch this. I can't imagine the GA tuning in.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Maybe the Frankenstein being in it might be an interest to people who like Frankenstein
until they see what happened. You know how many old people are like, "Oh, Frankenstein! What is this? Oh, geez, Doctor Victor, what are you doing over here?" Honestly, I was like, I didn't know what is that, necrophilia? Is that the proper term? Sleeping with corpses.
I mean,
I just didn't expect to see it.
She is. It's not like she's dead. Like, she is alive.
That's a dead woman.
Yes, but okay. I guess, I don't know. Like, that's a weird
one,
my
friend.
I need people to chime in on this.
Well, we know. Keep Eric away from the cemetery, everyone.
Oh, come on. That's not what I'm saying.
You're debating dead.
Oh my God.
And in fact, there was an
was she just laying there dead? No, she was animate. Like, she was alive. The character was alive.
There's a difference between being dead and laying there dead. So we've all had a dead fish in our day. We know what it's like. She's still alive.
So technically, vampire shows, like, vampires are dead, but they have sex all the time.
And that doesn't change the fact of what it is. You're having sex with a dead thing.
Okay.
It's
okay.
I mean, look. Also, I heard, what was that one movie where oh man, it was what's her name from Sex and the City, and it involved oh man, they ended up in the hood somehow, and she was a vampire. She had sex with these dudes, and then they turned into vampires. It was really crazy. So apparently, if you have sex with a vampiress, you could also turn into a vampire. It was crazy. Like, it was like these.
Well, maybe that's where her fangs were.
Oh, so it's like teeth. Oh God, which I've never seen. I don't want to see teeth. Yeah, but yeah, no. I would say sleeping with the Bride of Frankenstein, any zombie or any sort of vampire is
technically necrophilia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Look, and if you like vampires, that's fine. That's no different than liking Irish broads, as far as I'm
wow.
Wow. It's just a different type of woman. I'm just not into it, If that's your thing, go for it, Eric. I support you.
It's not my thing at all. I've just tried
vampires. There's hot vampires out there.
Of course there are. Well, vampires aren't real, but
I don't know. Have you ever been to Transylvania?
Huh?
Yeah, you're a man of God. You can't. Vampires are totally real.
Vampires are not real.
They are just the devil's playthings. Kowalski will get in here. I didn't mean to turn this into St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Vampires, as what we know them as from media, aren't real. There are people in weird fetish things that, yes, there might be, vampire, those kind of cults and stuff like that, where they dress up and think they're vampires, but no. Why did we go down this road?
I have no idea. I don't know how we got here.
I don't remember how we got here either.
we,
Uh,
we started to get real biblical.
and I even had something else to say, I think, about Creature Commandos, and now I forgot what that
It's
was.
like Straight Outta Gotham has gone the ways of WFAN. They are just falling apart, talking about
Oh, God.
necrophilia
That is
and vampire broads.
that's a whole other topic. That is not for this show, but yeah, that radio station has just lost its way. All right, so Gunn did speak a little bit further on the whole canon thing. He was on the Happy Sad Confused podcast. That's the podcast I was referencing before.
I watched it. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. And they did kind of ask him to explain canon and, is there overarching narrative and all that stuff. And these are some of the quotes he said. He said, there are some things you got to be kind of loose about. There are lots of product names in Peacemaker. He's mentioning celebrities all the time. Superman's a different sort of world. It's not about real people in a real world. It's about this mythical DC universe. Those are two stories created by the same person in the same universe. And even those are different in terms of vibrations they're giving. He went on to say that, different artists, obviously different writers, have different takes on the same subject. He said he wouldn't have a problem if someone introduced a slightly different version of Metropolis than the one he does in his Superman. So he says, I don't want everything to look the same all the time. I think the audience is smart enough to say, oh yeah, this is all connected, but also come on. And I think too often people get a little bit too strict about canon and freaked out. We've talked about that.
Brooklyn doesn't look like Manhattan, right?
No.
So, I imagine Suicide Slums and, Metropolis Central look totally different. I get what he's saying. I think the whole canon thing, honestly, people are just freaking out. And I think he did a good job clearing up later on in that podcast was just the Justice League cameos. Apparently, that's the only thing in Peacemaker that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And he did say they address it. So I'm interested to see, but then again, they did say the Flash was going to set up the whole DCU, and all we got was a lost tooth. So, it's all wait and see, guys. You just got to be patient and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about his time with Marvel and how he dealt with it there doing Guardians. But he keeps going back to says you got to kind of be loose with it. So he's saying you have to be able to give freedom to the creators to do what they want to do, but it all essentially needs to serve the same purpose. And I think that's probably the best way you can approach building the universe, building a connected universe.
At one point, they compared Horowitz compared Gunn's job to Feige's job, which I thought was really fascinating. And then Gunn basically kind of said, what we all know, it's like Feige's ship and he's got his hands in everything. And what Gunn said that was fascinating to me is he doesn't want that.
Right.
Peter does essentially, and we knew this going in, and it, now that he's kind of saying it from himself, it's a little bit, more, I feel, reliable and clear than just reading it in the Hollywood Reporter. But, Peter literally hands the business money side of things and James creates.
Right.
And it's essentially like they've split Feige's job into two people. And it's just run differently because while James Gunn he's not as involved, which I think is fascinating. There's a whole aspect of this that Safran just does on his own. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and that's probably the best thing, in my opinion, the best way to handle it. Let the creative guys just worry about that part of it, not having to worry about everything else. I mean, Feige can do it.
Is it what literally what does Safran do? Is he reaching out to people, getting pitches? Is he just budgeting? I'm curious. I get what James Gunn does, right? As a director, writer, he's writing a story, so he's probably got people who want to get involved in that story and stuff. That makes sense to me as a creative. I don't know the business end of Hollywood really that well. So I'm curious as to what Safran does on a day-to-day basis.
He probably handles the logistics stuff, where we're shooting, okay. if they need musical clearance, on certain songs, he probably handles that.
That makes sense.
Maybe talent. Maybe Gunn can say, yeah, I want I wrote this part. I have these 3 or 4 people in mind. See what they're up to.
Mhm.
and then he takes the ball and runs with that. I can imagine that's kind of what he does as the producer. He sounds like he's more of the executive producer level um, part of it, and then the whatever money stuff is involved, so contracts and all that. I'm assuming that's what Safran does, and like we know,
Okay,
Gunn
cool.
does the creative side of
I
things.
just wasn't clear, you know? It's
Yeah.
nuts to think that Feige does all that. Like, he must really be, like, some control freak.
Uh, I mean, I think it's because of how he came up through the business. He's kind of was in a lot of those different roles.
Mhm.
So it's just something he's used to doing and he's capable of doing. And Disney's probably like, well, if you can handle it all, we're not going to hire other people to, to help you or to, whatever. He probably does have assistants who help him. I shouldn't say that, but
Yeah.
you know,
No, I agree.
but he's still the one that makes all the decisions. And I'm sure there are certain things that Safran does that Gunn has no input on.
Like,
Um,
I don't. I'm starting, like, I'm wondering, like, does Safran, like, look at dailies and, like, there's no way Safran, just the way I was listening to him and Harlot's Gunn and Harlot talk, like, I don't think Safran's like looking at dailies and writing notes and sending them out. Like, I
no,
think that's Gunn. I don't think
yeah,
Safran's involved, honestly, with any real physical, like, filming. He's involved in production, but I don't think
yeah,
he's there on set with, like, ideas. Like, I don't think I think it's literally of two minds.
yeah. And I'm sure there are times Gunn probably goes to him as like, what do you think? He might ask his opinion on things, but I
I'm
don't think
sure they
he's making,
collaborate on certain
yeah,
things. They have
I don't think
to.
he's making decisions
Yeah.
for creative stuff. I think he lets Gunn play in that sandbox and handle all of that.
I do. I am curious though, like if Superman gets negative reviews, if the relationship changes. Just wonder because right now this is like honeymoon period, right?
Sure.
Like Penguin's really hot, Creature Commandos is really hot. They're riding a good wave into Superman. I'm curious, if everything keeps going positive, obviously it's working. But if we know how Warner Brothers likes to overreact, and whatever you say, they're on Warner Brothers lot.
Right.
Like, I still think WB has a heavy influence in
Oh,
this.
sure. I mean, they're going to want to see positive results from this stuff. If they don't, that's any job.
Mhm.
If you don't, especially when you're putting
People make
millions
it
of
seem like it's
dollars into
just very,
things.
they're not Marvel.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, DC is fighting a losing battle in a way because you're never going to be able to beat the group who did it first and did it well first.
I don't think
That's,
I still don't think they've learned that lesson, but
yeah. So that's kind of why some people are like, well, why are they bothering even attempting it? I'm of the mind that just because someone did something and did it great and you failed doesn't mean you shouldn't try again. Two different sets of characters, two groups of storytellers. You want to, get it right. We know they can. I mean, we have successful Batman movies. We've had successful Superman movies.
we
Wonder
had
Woman was a
one.
successful movie. The first Aquaman was like we've had success with the DC characters. So clearly the meat is there to build something. Just got to do it right, and that's I guess what we're waiting to see. So,
It's all wait and see.
yep.
Somebody's going. Somebody's head's gonna roll.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If this does not work, he could talk
I
all he wants about it.
yeah.
He's not going to be around too long.
Like, there's part of me that wonders, like if this thing, like, what happens, like if this thing is negative, and then you're opening on Supergirl, and it's like that's a spin-off of this. I'm like, I feel like we're back where we started.
Yeah.
I'm like, at some point, just give it a rest. But who knows? It may come out and be world beater. So, which is what I want. I want this to do well. Like, I don't want it to be negative. I'm just,
Well, no, it's a fair
I'm just
question.
worried
I
because I
mean,
think this is the last straw. Like, this could be the beginning of like a good 10-year hiatus, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, it's essentially Stockholm syndrome, right? Like we've seen this movie before, so we're automatically thinking it's DC.
Mhm.
They're going to screw it up somehow, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be what they want it to be, and we're going to be stuck again waiting now outside of Batman because Batman does seem Teflon at this point. We're going to be waiting again now for them to try another Superman movie, like you said, in 10 years or
Even after
whenever.
Reeves's Batman, I still think it needs a break. I just don't know about going in from one iteration to another so quickly. I think you need to crave it a little bit. You got to get thirsty.
Yeah, but that's why I think what we know of what he wants to do with Batman is going to be good, because it's going to be a totally different portrayal than what we've seen.
Right. I need some space. There's tons of characters out there you guys can
You're
work
right.
on. I know Batman's the big prize, but he is just coming off a successful spinoff series.
And we haven't gotten a timeline or time frame on the Brave and the Bold yet, so who knows? Maybe that will be the
in my
last
opinion, that's not
part
even a
of it.
thing, man. Like that's not real.
Yeah,
it's
just words right now. You're right.
Yeah, like that's not even a thing. There's more to Penguin season 2 than there is to the Brave and the Bold at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather listen to you speculate about a Sophia Selena spinoff show movie than the Brave and the Bold, because I've seen actors cast in those roles. Like that's a thing.
It's tangible. We have something there.
Yeah, Brave and the Bold doesn't exist in my opinion. It's just okay.
No.
You guys announced a title of a movie that no one knows what it's about,
and the director that might not even.
That's probably not directing it. It was. I still stand by. That's nothing but trying to sell the Flash. Oh, look at this! This guy directed this movie. He's directing the next Batman movie. We full confidence in him. That's all it was. It was PR stunt, which is fine. Do what you got to do, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's so like you said, we don't even know what it is yet. So that can change. Let's in a Thanos snap, as they say now.
Is that a thing?
It's
I don't say that.
You don't, but
no,
I've heard people say it. So.
Really? Who? Lauer? Lauer likes that foo-foo bullshit.
Does he?
Dude, talk to Lauer. He reads a lot of foo-foo bullshit. I'm serious. Check it out, man. I told him the other day. Just cut it out. And he's like, no. I was like, all right.
Like what you like.
That's fine. I think it's foo-foo bullshit.
Oh, I do. You did bring this up, and I did think it was funny that Gunn specifically did say the Justice League was not canon. Part of the Peacemaker part with the Justice League, that part was not canon.
Yeah, the entire show except for the last 5 seconds. All right. Which is interesting because I was like, you didn't show Superman and you didn't show Wonder Woman, so technically, I don't know what those two people look like, right?
Yeah.
They just had the silhouettes of those two characters. The only ones we saw were Aquaman and the Flash. So apparently, James Gunn hates Jason Momoa.
So, that's a social media leap right there, Pete. That's what you did right there.
I'm just saying.
That's what people read little. We usually see it in sports where an athlete in a free agency or for a team will take off the logo for their team,
or he'll like somebody's photo. Like, he's signing.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
Juan Soto liked Anthony Volpe's pizza picture. It's a lock. 17 years, $3 billion.
I know. Oh God, social media, the gift and the curse. Say it all the time. That thing is such a gift and the curse. Anyway, so speaking of the DCU, we do know that we had the casting of both of the Lanterns for the Lantern Show. So Aaron Pierre recently spoke about being cast as Jon Stewart, and he said this: "What I can tell you is that the teams are just super, super excited to have this opportunity to bring this story to people. And so far, as I'm concerned, I'm going to do my very best to serve and honor and elevate in any way I can Jon Stewart and the Green Lantern Corps. Hopefully I serve that and it resonates with me."
Sounds like a military man.
Yeah. And he says this should make everyone happy. He's doing extensive work, preparing for it, reading comics, going through all of the history of the character.
He's training for his job. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this. It's been a long time. I think DC has been terrified of Green Lanterns for too long. Let's get it out there. We got teases of it in the Arrow stuff. We got driveway shots over there by the T-shirt crew. But we're going to get a real deal Green Lantern. I'm really excited for that. I'll get 2 of them on that top of it. And I'm very curious of what this is going to be about. This whole show. I don't know why they did it this way. So again, just intrigue. Green
Right.
Lanterns in solving or like investigating on Earth. I was kind of expecting more of a space adventure, but I guess budget's gone the way. I have no idea. I'm just assuming. But yeah, like I wonder if this is Jon Stewart's first day. I wonder if, like what's going on, if him and Hal have been partners forever. Is this
Right.
Lethal Weapon 1? Is it Lethal Weapon 4? Like, where am I leading? Like I'm kind of, there's a lot in here. I love buddy cop stuff like Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours, even the Jump Street movies. What's it called? And what's it? Keanu Reeves, Johnny Utah. What the hell is that? Point Break. Like I love those things. Those are great. I would love a Green Lantern 80s action movie, mullets flowing in the flannel button downs, right? Like it just bring me back to the good old days of action films and that stuff and the Everyman. And I think you could do that with Green Lantern. Jon Stewart is a military man architect, and
Yeah.
and Hal Jordan's not far off being a pilot. So I think it could be something really special. A lot of people are comparing it to True Detective. I've never
Right.
watched True Detective, but was that like Vince Vaughn and Matthew McConaughey did a season?
Yep.
And didn't Cyborg get in there once?
Yeah, he was on the show. Mahershala Ali did a season as well. And then the last one was Jodie Foster, I think,
And Woody Harrelson did one, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I think
like
that was the
that's
first
cool.
season. I think Woody Harrelson and
I'll check it out. Now that I can kind of compare it to Lanterns, but or compare Lanterns to it. But yeah,
I didn't watch True
I think
Detective, but I've heard great things about
everyone
it.
loves it. I mean, I'm sure it's not Batwoman season 3, but like nothing else can compare to the greatest show in the history of television.
That's a hill you're just gonna continue to die on.
Yeah, baby.
You are gonna just die on that.
Love you, baby.
Well, we're gonna get it. I'm gonna a little bit later. We'll talk about Superman and Lois, the series finale, and all that. But just to quickly talk about the Lantern show, what you were just talking about and speculating. I think the big thing we have to think about is they're trying to sell this also to the mainstream audience. And if you do some space adventure, they might not be they might not be intrigued enough to watch.
Yeah, I think you're right because just Rebel Moon just didn't hit, right? So like I don't know if you're trying to go like that sci-fi, that spacey for obvious reasons, right? Like people just didn't connect with it. Whereas, Star Wars can do that. And because I think Star Wars again, or Star Trek, anything like that has that essentially pre-built audience of 30 years. Whereas I don't think people really know much about Lanterns outside of Ryan. I don't even think they care about Ryan Reynolds. I think it's such a forgotten thing.
Yeah. So doing it as an Earth-based detective show, that's what it's been pitched at. And again, I just keep going back to the creators and the people working on it. Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King. I mean, that is a really good creative group. The three of them. So
I want to know what Tom King's really getting involved with a lot of like live action production. I mean, he was the Ava DuVernay movie. If I said her name right, that New Gods, he was attached to that, but we never saw it. Now it seems like he's got his hands in a couple of DC projects. I'm curious to what his TV stuff is. It's a different medium, people, react differently in different mediums. So I'm interested to see what he can bring to the table. Cause I love Tom King as a comic book writer.
Right.
Curious to see if that translates into anything else. Cause like I said, I would have been down to see that New Gods movie. It just never really happened.
I would have too. That was an intriguing movie for me.
Yeah. If you ask Ava, it was because of the Snyder Cut. So one Uxas defeated another.
Yeah, essentially, exactly.
And that's what people are like, you're just saying that because you're like, no, you idiot! I want more Uxas.
Yes.
You can have 3 Supermen. I can't have more than 1 Uxas. Screw you.
Yeah, it wasn't much of an Uxas.
He was a fabulous Uxas.
No, I'm saying we didn't get a lot of them. That's what I'm saying.
No, we barely got any. I got some.
Yeah.
But I want more. Uxas, baby.
Yes. Everyone knows your love affair with Uxas.
Uxas.
So, well, speaking of more, we are getting another Daredevil show, as we know, and we do know that it was also reconfigured, I'll say, because originally it was supposed to be more of a lighthearted type thing, and now they're going back to the traditional. They went back to the traditional
Dude, I
setup
want
of
to
the show.
see the stuff they got rid of, like
I kind of
deleted
do
scenes.
too.
Like I want to see like friendly Daredevil.
Yeah, if they do like a Blu-ray set or something with, this was our
Yeah.
concept beforehand, that would be kind of cool. But apparently there's going to be a 5-year time jump. So, actor
Is
Wilson
that just real
Bethel.
time? To be honest with you, has the show been off air for 5 years?
I think you're right. That's actually that's a good point. I didn't even think of it. But so it's just staying going along with the normal time frame of things.
No age reduction technology here.
Yeah, none of that going on. So actor Wilson Bethel, who
Bullseye, I believe.
yes, I believe he's returning. Well, he will eventually become Bullseye. He
I believe
spoke
the
at
last time
the
we saw him, he was fake Daredevil, right?
was he? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking at the Fan Expo in San Francisco, he spoke about the time jump. And he says, I think one of the things that's interesting is, I mean, maybe it's different on a sitcom or something like that, but if you're on a show for over a period of time and the characters are aging together sort of in real time, and if the show is well written and the writers are sort of responding to that reality transpiring, the wrinkles of their hair, etc., then in theory, the character is evolving in a way, whether or not the show is on air. So there's kind of like this funny thing stepping back after 5 years where Born Again will pick up with the amount of time having transpired. The show doesn't pick up the day after we last saw it. It picks up 5 years later. So in theory, these are characters who have all lived 5 years of life and all of the twists and turns that you take in the meantime. So whether or not even those stories are necessarily on screen, there's just that little extra bit of life in there, which I think is, as an actor, it gives you an opportunity to bring whatever your own journey has been in that time, and they sort of get a little longer in the tooth. So similar to what you were saying, it's kind of just the same time frame in real time, and he's saying that that'll kind of lend to their performances, which I never even thought about that, but it's kind of a cool point.
Makes me wonder if like what's going on with Murdoch and Foggy.
Right?
Just wondering, because every once in a while they get into a tiff and they kind of break up, and then I wonder if they're going to do that. I really want to see what happens with this. I want more D'Onofrio. And get a little bit in Hawkeye. I feel like he's popped up once or twice.
He was in Echo.
Yeah, that's right. He was in Echo too. I want more D'Onofrio. That's really what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait. I'm pumped for this.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's March 4th, which, when we first heard that, I was like, oh, it's so far. But no, it's only 3 months now. Only 3 months away.
3 months later, you get Superman.
Yeah. So exciting times going forward with the superhero stuff.
Well, it's just kind of kicking back up again. I feel like we've really hit a lull.
Yeah. Obviously, the strikes and COVID kind of put a little pause on things. But yeah, we're kind of ramping back up again, which is fun. It's fun to be talking about this stuff again because, we were searching for things to talk about for a while. We didn't know what to bring to the masses.
I mean, we could always head to Vero. I'm sure there's topics over there.
Usually is. If we want controversial topics, we could go there.
We can go there.
So I think that this next story you put here, and I just think it's funny, the reaction people are having to it already. So Scream 7, as we know, is coming, and it added Asa German to the cast. And the reason I say it's funny because immediately when people saw his picture, they're like, that's the killer.
Yeah. That's it.
I was like, what? I'm like, we have no idea. That would be too easy though, right? Like, wouldn't that be too easy?
Well, maybe it is, because maybe isn't that kind of maybe it's like Scream's like, well, that's on the news. Like maybe that's the whole twist. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. He probably dies in the first 5 minutes. He's probably the opening kill.
Yeah, right. Well, he is a veteran of The Boys and Gen V. That was also on, which is the offshoot of The Boys. He played Sam on the show, one of the Vought kids they were doing experiments on and stuff like that. So I'm familiar with him because I watched the show, and he's very good in the role. So this is really good casting. But you're right, the creepy vibe. Everyone who nailed, sat on the creepy vibe from the beginning. I kind of hear what you're saying. Like, he does look like that. He also played Jeffrey Dahmer. So
in what?
Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. That's what he was in.
Oh, because I thought that was
So,
Evan
yeah.
Peters, or was that something different?
Evan Peters was the one on Netflix. This, I think, is a different one.
Okay, all right. I was like, hold on a second. That was Quicksilver or the Boner Boy. What's his name? what they call him in WandaVision? Edward Boner. Ed Boner, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Matt Boner. I think it was Boner, something Boner. I was like, oh gosh, just ruined the whole show for me.
But yeah. So we got some more, obviously some Scream casting news. I'm happy that this thing is happening. We're getting another Scream film. So
I can't wait. Nev's back. That's all that matters.
Exactly. That's what I think everyone is kind of most happy about.
That's right. Give her what she wants. She's the queen.
Nev
she deserves
is
it.
Returning.
Canadian goddess.
Yeah.
She's the best thing to come out of Canada is Nev Campbell, followed by Ryan Reynolds. It would have been the 1994 Vancouver Canucks, but they lost. That could have been the greatest thing that came out of Canada, but it wasn't.
I thought the Montreal Expos.
They folded, clearly.
Yeah,
they're not.
But
they don't exist anymore.
But you love them.
That's true. I do. I love them. I love that building.
That's what I'm saying. So for you, I was surprised you didn't lead with them, saying they're the best thing to come out of Canada.
Well, they were at one point, but they don't exist anymore.
Okay, fair.
Damn it, Pavel Bure. Check.
So remember on the last show we talked about the Tumblr being available for people to buy?
You got one.
I did it.
Holzman, did it.
Dude, trust me, that would have been all over the place.
That thing is going over crazy. The LIE, and I think it might fall right through.
I would have been bragging like crazy if I could have gotten one of those. But Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, did make that become a reality. He bought a Batmobile. He was talking with on the Hard Knocks show that's been on, I believe, it's HBO, the in-season Hard Knocks.
I didn't know they did in-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah, they started it either last year or the year before.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yes, he told his teammates, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that he bought the Tumbler. That's fantastic. I mean, he literally is doing what all of us wish we could.
Like, is there anything like? There's no like street legal in Ohio. Can you just drive anything? I'm like, that's I
don't know.
The back wheels alone have to be it's so bad. All right, I'm curious because I've seen the inside of the Tumbler from various like videos and production things they've released. The windshield sucks. Like it's like looking through like the little triangle in the back seat, that doesn't move. It's like the little piece next to your window that slides down.
Yeah.
That's what it's like looking out of. And I'm like, I wonder if they changed it for, public use.
Because it has that divider in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And that window's just not very small. And then there's a lot of stuff covering the window to kind of like, remember, it's supposed to be like, a tank thing. So it's kind of be like bulletproof and protected. So I'm curious if they altered it a little bit so you could actually see it while driving. Because I'm like, I don't know how this works. And I'm also curious, can he do the little like lay thing where he like, and his head goes between the front tires, in that window? Like, can he do that thing?
Something tells me that's probably not safe.
I don't think it's safe either, but does it also turn into a bat pod? I have more questions than I do answers.
I know.
Like, if you turn it into the bat pod, is the Batmobile no longer usable? Like, is it like a one-time thing? Like you could do this once and only once.
I know. You're right. Tons of questions. He did say he might go all in and buy a bat suit as well.
I imagine that's significantly cheaper.
Yeah,
I can afford to buy a bat suit. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes.
Just email Mr. Reeves at Reeves Effects and send him his money, and that's it. It's not that bad. But the Batmobile, and what do you spend? $3 million?
Yeah, it was 2.9. So yeah, $3 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So moving right along, this is our final topic, and I teased it a little before. The CW superhero collection of shows has officially come to an end. With the series finale of Superman and Lois this past week. Just as a quick retrospective and I tweeted about this, but For a while there, the DC universe was represented solely on the CW, and whatever your takes are on what it was and the quality of it, there are a lot more people who know about Arrow and the Legends of Tomorrow characters, and Black Lightning, and all of these characters that they focused on that before these shows nobody knew about. Um, so from that perspective, I think people need to give the CW its due, as what it did to kind of grow the brand, um, grow the DC brand with the general audience. But specifically, Superman and Lois itself, uh, that that interpretation and that story of those characters, was so endearing and was so awesome, and it was at a time where I think we needed that kind of a representation of Superman, especially coming off of the Zack Snyder version of the character. And not that I didn't dislike that character, just let me say, I didn't hate that interpretation of Superman, but a lot of people did. And I feel like the Superman and Lois interpretation really kind of brought the character back to what it's always been. And the show even built upon that by, giving him a family, showing you with his family, and him and Lois married, and kind of growing out of that, going back to Smallville, having Lana on the show. Like, it did a lot of good for Superman. Sorry. It did a lot of did a lot of good for Superman, the character. And it handled the material, in my opinion, very well. We got a version of Steel, John Henry, Irons, obviously. We got a version of Steel in there. So it was a very well done, well served show to the characters that were on it. And it wrapped up so nicely. Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, Pete, because you haven't seen it. But the way that they handled the end, especially the last, I want to say 20-25 minutes of the show, um, is something I didn't expect. And it really resonated with me. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the creators of Superman and Lois, to all the actors on it. I didn't love all the performances, but I thought they were good enough. And just for doing this show and giving Superman, in my opinion, the representation that he should always have. So that's it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the CW. It's sad to kind of see it go. Lots of good memories there. Lots of great Tuesdays watching The Flash. It also, again, delivered the greatest season of single-handed television in the history of mankind in Batwoman season 3. So respect, put some name on that, Kowalski specifically. And a lot of people like to turn down the CW. Me personally, I liked it more than the Smallville. I know Smallville is still regarded as probably the best, DC TV show post 66, right? Unless you want to argue Watchmen, but I'm talking just regular classic DC characters.
Sure.
I think the CW, what it did, creating a whole Justice League at one point, multiple crossovers, adapting famous titles of comic books, storylines, and effortlessly expanding. Really did what they could not do on the big screen. Did it better. Did it with smaller heroes, and eventually brought in the big gun in Superman. And during, I think we got our first look at Hoagland either season 1, season 2 Supergirl. Superman made an appearance early on in season 1, but it was faceless. So again, the suit was a little funky. It took a little time to get there, but I do think that this version of Superman on the CW resonates with a lot more people and what they think Superman is. The Snyder stuff was just a little too dark, a little too depressing. I like BVS. Don't come at me. You're an idiot already. So don't do that. But I really enjoyed this. I look forward to catching up on it. I can't wait. I've heard great things. There's even stuff they teased about like season 5, and you're like, oh man, I wish James Gunn didn't cancel this, because we know who canceled it. Because this could have easily, it was already getting HBO Max money, or Max, whatever the hell that place is called. They were dumping money into that. They could easily move that over, made it a whole streaming event. People were tuning in. People have tuned in. People are raving about it. Who knows? Maybe we can Daredevil this thing. I don't know, but it seems to really hit with a lot of people. And we'll see what happens. I look forward to catching up on it. I'm happy that they got Steel in there. I thought it was crazy. The twists, the turns, the Lex Luthor stuff. Even the way they teased up Doomsday at the end of the last season. Like I've seen pictures. Everyone's comparing it to Krypton, and everyone's already shitting on the BVS Doomsday. I still think the only person who thinks that Doomsday's perfect is Rick. So yeah, it's sad to see it go, but I think it had a hell of a run, and I think a lot of people need to watch some of those years of Arrow that were critically acclaimed, the early years of the Flash that were critically acclaimed, and enjoy that. And I think even like season 1 or 2 of Legends was pretty well received.
Yep.
Supergirl became a little bit more bubblegum towards the end. Black Lightning was fantastic, which I think was kind of a test run for Superman and Lois. I think they kind of, if you look at those two shows, they're very similar. Dad, superhero, mom, kids, superpowers, all that jazz, dealing with it. I think it was kind of the blueprint for Superman and Lois. And that show took me by surprise, too. I thought it was really great, especially for a character that probably will never get another live action interpretation again. So it was great. Cress Williams did a great job with that. Just really phenomenal stuff. Spinoff, the CW had spinoff comics for Flash and Supergirl. I know that. So if you're interested in reading more or learning more about these characters, there's that stuff. I don't know if they came out with those things for Arrow or Legends, but I know for a fact it was Flash and Supergirl. But yeah, I'm happy that it's there, man, because I think you're right. At the time, I think that was the Superman we really needed. I think that was the Superman we really wanted on the big screen. It wasn't an A-list actor. It wasn't a 2.5 hour movie. It was, it happened every week. And there's a home for Superman on TV. It seems to fit really well. He seems to really resonate on television. Maybe that's something that maybe that's something James Gunn should consider. Maybe from Metropolis News Show or something. I don't know. But there's definitely a home for Superman on television.
Yeah, I agree with that. All the iterations that we've gotten on TV, whether it be the old Superman show, and then Lois and Clark, and like all Smallville.
Like they have no problem turning out a good Superman TV show. They really don't.
It's true.
It's true. It's been much more reliable than Superman on the big screen.
It has. That is a definite true statement. Can't argue that at all.
Geez, you got a frog in your throat?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, geez. Don't tell Alex Jones. You know how he feels about them frogs.
So, yeah. So, again, if you guys out there were fans of Superman and Lois and you watched it, after you listen to the show, reach out, let me know what you thought. Again, I don't want to say too much because Pete hasn't seen it yet.
So, but just a curiosity now, you've watched most of this stuff. How would you rank these shows now that it's finally over?
Oh, wow. Arrow was always my favorite. I still think I'd probably have it first. Then I'd have Superman and Lois. Then probably The Flash. I think the early seasons of The Flash are fantastic, but that show jumps the shark and goes totally left for me.
They should have never done 22 episode seasons. I think that was a death.
So that would probably be next. Then I'd say Black Lightning, Legends. I didn't like Supergirl at all, as you know, so Supergirl. It sounds sexist because I'm putting the two female ones.
You are. You and Lauer, misogynist.
But
I don't know why you hate Callista Flockhart.
I liked her. When she was on the show. I didn't think the first season was that bad.
When it was CBS.
Yeah, when it was on CBS.
For me, I go Flash, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Black Lightning, Arrow, Legends. I think that covers them, right?
Well, you didn't have Batwoman.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then I put Batwoman above Arrow. Oh, see, Batwoman's tricky because it's only got one good season. So Ruby Rose literally weighs it down. Thank God they got rid of her. Javisha, baby, love you.
So yeah, but
Batwoman season 3. Have you watched Batwoman season 3 yet?
No.
You should watch the Killer Croc episode. Just watch the Croc episode.
Okay.
I'm asking you to watch 1 half-hour TV show. I'm asking you one favor.
I'll give it a watch.
You watch how many Jets games this year?
You're right.
What is more painful?
Batwoman. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say it the other way. Batwoman's probably infinitely more entertaining. Watching the Jets this year.
But. You could probably watch that whole episode during halftime.
Yeah. Especially if it's like fan appreciation, wherever they do, where they have those extended half times. I probably could. But again, shout out to the CW, Greg Berlanti, whoever else was involved with it. Jeff Johns, I know, was involved in some of the shows. Oh, and even bring up Stargirl. That's another one.
Yeah, that show was great too.
Right?
That's
that show
another
was
one.
fantastic.
That one probably ranks up as number 4. Yeah, like it did a lot of good, man. Like if you're not watching some of this stuff, I think you're really not giving it the credit it deserves. You know, I always tell people to do the work, and you know, when I hear people don't watch the CW, they don't watch Daredevil, you know, they haven't watched all this. I'm like, why are we listening to you? You know, you doing the work? I'm doing the work.
It's true.
Granted, I have to catch up on Superman and Lois, but it's like I'm going to. You know, I said I was going to. I'll do it over Christmas break, but
even that's what I did. I mean, I didn't watch every week. I just binged it.
For Christ's sake, I watched Kite Man.
Yeah, you do like extensive work.
I didn't like Kite Man.
You do CIA work on these things. You're like deep in the weeds.
For someone, I was like, that's it. I'm putting my foot down with Venom. I'm not seeing this shit. This is where I draw the line, Venom 3. That's it. I sat through Madam Web. You deserve my money.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very,
that would try on that one, and I went to see it.
That would be a worthy protest, to be honest. That would be a worthy protest.
I'll sit out there Zaddy style all by myself with a cardboard little thing and some paper. Oh God!
All right, so
let's wrap this one, Pete.
Yeah,
let's wrap this one up, baby.
That's it. We're gonna end on that.
Free yeah. We love Holzman around here. How's it?
All right, you guys know where to find us already. You guys know where to find us already. You know our handles. We don't have to tell you. So check us out. You want to hit us up on Twitter and me on Blue Sky.
Yeah, he's going to spend time on Blue Sky.
I'm on Blue Sky. So if you're on Blue Sky, you want to hit me up there. Same handle, Finally33, same one over there. Check us out. Back again, Facebook page. Again, all nicked up for me every Wednesday night. Facebook Live, YouTube, X. Check us out.
Check your aunt's text messages. He's in there too.
Maybe. Who knows? It's possible.
If her name's Trudy, it's a definite.
Trudy.
Aunt Trudy. That's where Eric goes. Right. He's gonna go deliver some milk to Aunt Trudy.
All right. Oh man.
Holzman.
Yes. So for Pete, I'm Eric. You're listening to Straight Outta Gotham. And we'll see you next time.
Booyah.
Soundstripe. Have faith. Have faith. Believe in your source. Have faith.